to Tejano Time Podcast, where we celebrate the music, culture, and traditions of Tejano music. Thanks for joining us as we sit down with the biggest names in Tejano music. From legendary artists to rising stars, we will talk about their latest projects, share stories from the road, and maybe dive into history and heritage of Tejano music. So grab your favorite drink, sit back, and enjoy this episode of Tejano Time. Here's your host, Leal.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us right here on this special episode right here on Tejano Time Podcast, okay? And we don't have any Tejano artists with us tonight. There's no Tejano artists on the show, but check this out, guys, okay? You guys are very, very familiar with the guy I got on the screen right now, and I would like to welcome him back once again to the show here on Tejano Time. This is part 3 of our, sit down with Mr. Eric Jimenez, so Ian Eric Jimenez. So, brother, welcome back to the show.
Good to see you, brother. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's always great to talk and catch up with this guy because he definitely has some stories and some interesting stories at that as well. So it's a great thing. And so what's been going on with you lately?
Life is good, brother. Life is good. I'm just staying really busy. I think that that's the only thing you can do. You know, like my dad used to say, whatever it is you're going to do it now because you got about 5 minutes left in this 15-minute ASS life. That's what he would say. Mm-hmm. And when I was a kid, I didn't know what he meant by that, And now that I'm not a kid anymore, that's exactly what I say to my son. Thanks, Dad. Yeah. And and with my son, he's such a good dude. But when I see, sometimes I'll overtalk a little bit my advice to him, and hey, I can see that. The same faces that I made when I was a kid, my father would advise me in particular areas. It wasn't that my faces were meant to be derogatory or anything. It's just that maybe I got a little impatient, or maybe it went in one ear out the other, and I wasn't quite listening. Mm-hmm. I'd do anything to hear his voice again now, but how do you explain that to your son? Because they won't get it until they're in your position. And right. When they are, you might not even be around anymore. So, he just walked in. He just walked by the back door a second ago. Yeah, but I'm making music, man. Here's the thing. Someone else asked me that the other day, just in casual conversation. I said, "What are you up to lately? Are you still, are you still doing X, Y, Z?" Because there's several things that I do that take up my entire day and equally, and one of them is music. And they asked me about music, and I said, I'm doing it more now than I have in a while because I haven't stopped. Stopped, whether it's been, different genres or different positions in a particular band or as a producer or songwriter or whatever it is. My personal stuff especially. More so now because when you and I were talking off the air a minute ago, you become a father, and every ounce of energy and time goes into that because it's absolutely worth it. Yeah. But then you blink, and it isn't that it's over. It's that particular time when they're in diapers and they're babies. They learn how to walk, and one day goes by, $1,000 diapers later, and then they're walking, and they're in school, and then new school, and then a new school, and new hobbies, and then they discover the opposite sex in most cases, and that takes up a lot of their time, and suddenly your position as their father, you're still their father, but it's they have other things that they're doing, and my youngest one, he'll be graduated in high school next year, and he does very well. I don't know where he got his brains from, to be honest with you, but he does very well. He's in his class. I think he's in the top 15. Mm-hmm. And I can't take. I mean, if he was talented, which he is, I'll take all the credit in the world for that. But as far as smartness, I don't know where he got it from. But he plays a couple instruments. That's not really his thing. His thing is academics. But once he goes, um, uh, they've all, because the goal has been, and I know I told you this last time. Once I get talking, I'm kind of long winded. I apologize,
No, you go for
but
it.
I'll
Show
bend
is
you
all
here for a good
yours.
minute. Yeah. Um, the goal has always been, with them is to give them the opportunities that we didn't have, um, as far as college and environment and things of that nature, just to uh, so that they can progress to a level that we never did,
Right.
in their particular field or area, whatever their goal or direction is. And we've accomplished that as friends. Me and my ex-wife, as friends, we've accomplished that. But then when they go, it's like, now what? Now what am I going to do? And what I decided, and I can see it at the end. I can see the finish line, at least for this particular chapter.
Hmm.
I can see it approaching really quick. So what I decided was just to do my thing, be myself.
Yourself.
You know, write my songs about my life experiences and share them uh, with the people that are willing to listen to it. Yeah, and certainly, when I'm singing one of my songs and I see the dance floor get filled, it's not just because it's a waltz
Hmm.
or uh, something you can two-step to.
Yeah.
It's because, and that's part of it. But it's they can relate to the content, to the story. You know, like me talking about my kids growing up. Well, you can relate to that too. Just about everybody that I know that's around our age can relate to that as well. And by the way, I'm looking back and forth because I've got them on multiple screens, so I apologize
Yeah.
if my eyes look shifted.
Yeah.
But so I'm very busy with music, and that's why, because I'm about to have more time than I've had before, because they'll be off doing their thing, and Dad can't be under their feet their whole time as much as I want to, because I'm so selfish.
Right.
With
Right.
them, I just want to be their dad forever, and I will be. But I mean, this particular chapter, making them lunch to take to school, and my son just walked in from martial arts. I'm gonna wash his gi, and
Hmm.
he'll come and pick it up tomorrow and go to the dojo, and but then once he's off to college, uh, there won't be any more of that, making lunches and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Very
I'm
true.
gonna play
Very
some
true.
music.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm up to.
Yeah, and a lot of time right now. Well, he's going to be again in the future right now. So, but he's got time to make some music right now. I mean, we'll get to that new. He's got a new track out, guys. Okay. Now, for those of you that are joining us right now, share the live as well, guys. Okay. Um, for those of you that are joining us and are not very familiar with Ian Eric Jimenez, he played trumpet and sax back in the days for La Fiebre. Okay, and I know
I
you
did.
guys know who that is. Yeah. Yes. So
I
that was
did.
we talked about that on episode 1 and 2. So this is now the part 3. So yeah, guys, if you're out there, we appreciate you, and share it. Share the live, guys, wherever you be watching from. Okay, so everybody over on our YouTube channel, everybody on Facebook, our Houston Tejano Hits page, we're definitely going to share his new country track, and we also have some other surprises that we're going to share throughout the show as well. that we'll get to.
Yes.
So we want to let's see. We've got Chronicle. Let me just say hello to these people right quick here, Eric. We got Chronicle on the Beats, who's watching the show as well. Leslie Garcia, saludos from Cypress, Texas, is watching. Leslie, thank you so much.
Hello,
Appreciate
Miss
you.
Leslie. How are you?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. We got Mr. Joe Leal. Saludos y bendiciones, amigos, desde Chicago.
Hey, brother.
Thank you.
Right on.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Joe. ACL Productions as well. Good to see you, Eric. Says keep doing your
ACL.
thing. And
All
Keith.
right. Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
brother. Thanks for watching the show. So, yeah. So, you do songwriting as well, Eric, don't
I
you?
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, tell me a little bit about the most meaningful song that you have written, and the story behind it
Oh
to date.
boy. I'll do that, and I'll try and do it without getting too emotional, but
Mhm.
but I, a handful of them are equally my favorite is, and not because of the chord changes, or because the melody's pretty, which, even though on some of them it is, or I liked the way that I played the dobro part, or whatever. That's that doesn't make a song my personal favorite. I think, or I know rather, the reason why a song would be my favorite, one of them, is because of the sincerity and the honesty that goes into the storytelling and the songwriting, what it's actually about. All my songs are true. That was the one thing. Coming off of a commercial experience, and Fiebre wasn't my most recent one. That was years back, but I've been in quite a few outfits. I've had some time to do that.
Yeah.
And you write in a particular way that's required for that genre or that library, because I do stuff for Warner Chappell, and I do libraries for film and television, and they'll say, well, my mentor does this a lot. He does this a lot. Just give them exactly what they want. What they want it to sound like, and don't be too creative. And I don't take that wrong, because he knows me, and he knows that if you don't tell me that, I'm gonna get creative. So I can't help myself.
Yeah.
It's like when I talk. If I start playing, I get lost, and then the next thing you know, the sun goes down, the sun comes up, and I haven't eaten, because when you feel good doing what you're doing, you don't need sleep or even food. But so in the past, I have been quite molding what I do and what I write to what the expectations of the person or entity or that's hiring me.
Right.
When I do my own stuff, it's about life experiences and whatever I happen to be feeling at that time. And most of the time, what I'm feeling at the time is what I've been feeling for a long time. I would say, out of those songs, because they're not all fun, and they're not all, tender and ballady either. But the song I just released, it's between that one and another song that I wrote for my oldest son when he was a baby, a long time ago. He's mid-20s now, and he's a hairy-chested man now. But back then, he'll always be my baby. Just how it is now. He's taller than I am, because who's not, by the way. But he'll come in and see, kiss you on the head, boy. And, okay, Dad. He plays along, but he's a big old dude. But between the song that I wrote for him and the one that I just recently released would be my favorites. And this one's called it's called Just One. And the story behind that is when I was younger, probably about, oh boy, I don't know, maybe late 20s, early 30s, at the time. I'd go through relationships, and as a young man can generally do, and not necessarily it's because of the position that I was in. It's just because I just couldn't figure it out. Pardon me. Yeah. I just couldn't figure it out, and I would date sometimes. I would have a relationship with someone, and sometimes I would kind of be indecisive and go back and forth. I just couldn't quite get it figured out. And I would get my feelings hurt and my heart broken, as every man, every person has done. And my dad, he's very stoic. He said more without saying anything at all. So when he did finally say something, it wasn't just me that was all ears. It was anybody that knew him in the room, my mother or my sister, or anybody, and certainly anybody that loved him, which was a lot of people. And, I remember asking him one time, Dad, I can't figure it out. He's like, what's that, boy? I said, women. I can't do it. What? I'm dating so-and-so, I'm dating so-and-so, and, I'm and I'm doing all the things, that you do, yeah, to try and have a successful relationship, and I couldn't pull it off. Even though those relationships weren't meant to be, the ones that you experience and they taper off, those weren't meant to last forever. I know that now, but when you're trying to juggle, you're
Yeah.
trying to juggle relationships. My dad he's kind of sitting there shake his head. And I can't figure it out, Dad. I'm like, what? He's like, it's women. I can't do it. He's like, well, and I said women, right? Not woman, but women.
Hmm.
He goes, that's your problem right there, son. I go, well, what do you mean? I said, women? He said, no. You only need just one.
Just one. Yeah. That's where you
That's all you
got the.
need.
That's an amazing story
And
right
I'm
there,
like,
guys.
I used to get so mad. He, he I understand why he did it now. He would allow me to make mistakes. He could have warned me many times in different situations I was in. Although he did speak up a lot about business. Um,
Hmm.
I remember when I was a teenager, when I first joined Fiat, and my dad was a financial consultant. Right? That's what he did. That's probably where my son gets his brains from because he didn't get it from me. I think it skipped a generation. But um, he would go over numbers and possibilities. He keeps a head counter. Let's just say that this everybody paid this much coming in, and they could take a certain percentage of the door goes to promote. He would go, and they would go one ear and out the other, and I really
Not
wouldn't
the other.
listen to him. I'm all about it now, but back then I wasn't. Maybe it's because I wasn't supposed to be, but um, he, other than that, he would just sit back and let me stumble and fall, and I appreciate him for that because I've learned. The best way to learn anything is to try it, make a few mistakes until you get it figured out, and in a lot of areas, you know,
Hmm.
I have, you know, I would say that I have a black belt in a few things, like only because of, after making so many mistakes, you realize you don't do that, and then you start doing it right, and then the art of 10,000 hours kicks in. Whatever it is, whatever you put 10,000 hours into, you know, and you're doing it right over and over again, you end up mastering that. And since I've been around for a minute or two, I've had more than 10,000 hours to put time into the things that I do. So, uh, for not warning me when I was about to trip over something, thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
But he did finally say that. He did finally say, that's your problem, boy. You only need one.
You only need one.
As he sits next to my mom every single day. That's his one. He had figured out a long time ago.
That's what
Yeah.
I like about this guy. His stories are just are amazing. Everybody that's watching out there, yeah, share the live guys as well, man. It's just amazing, and that's how he came up with this one here. Like you said, just one. So we're gonna go ahead and play that tune right quick and let us know what you think about it, guys. If you're watching the show out there, as said, this is the brand new one right here from Mr. Ian Eric Jimenez, and it is available right on all digital platforms as
On
well.
all formats, and I'm really excited about it. It's gotten picked up, by by radio in a few cities, in Texas. Um,
Wonderful.
and the reason why I'm saying that is because more people outside of being available on all the formats, where
Hmm.
not only people that are following me can hear it, but people that normally wouldn't hear my music are able to hear it, and I'm excited because I've had a few gigs where people will approach me and say, "I love the story behind the song, and I can relate to it." And I'm, you know, I don't drink or do too many. I don't do extracurricular things. So,
Hmm.
other than coffee, so I put a lot of time into my storytelling and my songwriting. When someone wants to sit down and talk about it, I generally do. I might eat up a little bit of their time, but at least they get the answer in detail
Yeah.
of as far as what they're questioning about and how they can relate to the song. I love telling the story behind it.
Yep, and he's gonna tell it right here, guys. Take a listen to this the brand new track right here, okay, right here on Tejano Time. We'll be right back here in just a few short minutes. So guys, so take a listen to the brand new tune. It is out again, like you said, streaming. Go out there and add it to your playlists and whatnot. So check it out right here. Just One, Ian Eric, right here on the Tejano Time podcast.
Father's father before him, it was a small town Texas girl. Soft brown eyes, I was mesmerized, and a smile that lit up the world. I thought maybe she's here with someone, maybe she came all alone. Now it's no mystery, she's always with me, and wherever that is my home. And if I say that I'll always be grateful, I promise it's just me and you. I might forget to say that you look nice today, well, just that you always do. Sometimes you get lonely, you know, sometimes I get quiet. When I say that I love you without saying I love you, I mean it with all of my might. Cause I put in 10,000 hours, and I've got about a million dreams. But man, when it comes to a woman, Daddy, tell me, what do I need? He said, son, just one. They say some things are better left unsaid. Sometimes I say nothing at all. But just like my dad, I know what I have. But sometimes I stumble and fall. And if I say that I'll always be grateful, I promise it's just me and you. I might forget to say that you look nice today, well, it's just that you always do. And I know sometimes you get lonely, oh, you know sometimes I get quiet. If I say that I love you without saying I love you, I mean it with all of my might. Cause I put in 10,000 hours, and I've got about a million dreams. But man, when it comes to a woman, Daddy, tell me, what do I need? He said, son, just
There you have it. That is it right there. Just One is the song that's out right now, guys. And it's available on all digital platforms. Like I said, all areas out there that you guys have a favorite platform to go out there and look at it, or actually stream it. So go out there and check it out, guys. Just I can't stress it enough, man. This guy's got some awesome music. We got some more tunes that we'd like to share throughout the show in a few minutes. But what are some of your favorite themes or topics that you like to write about in your songs? I know you discussed one earlier. Is there any others that you trying to get some ideas from, stuff like that? I know there's things that happen every day in your life. So
Well, you just nailed it. Absolutely. Here's the thing: people, and I'll say people to start with. I'll say that people have many things that they want to talk about, that they experience, and I'm people too. So what I feel I'm very fortunate in many areas. Absolutely, I cannot express how much gratitude that I have for the life that I've lived. I'm sitting here in my recording studio that I've always wanted, in my house that I've always wanted, that I've raised my children in, and I did, and put them through college, and I've done it all the way that I wanted to, which was most important to me, which is most important, because it's been in a lot of ways, a lot of areas, it's been very hard. But the reason why anything is hard, you only know that it's hard if you keep doing it. If you're doing the same thing and trying to make it work, and it's difficult, that means that you're still doing it, and there's a reason for that. If something's difficult and you're still doing it, it's because it's worth it. And those are the things that I like to write about, which is family, friendship, adversity, any kind of victory, especially any kind of adversity, which ultimately ends in victory, or solving the problem. Because just like with anything, there certainly has to be some sort of resistance in everything that you do, because if there wasn't, then everyone would do, and everyone would have everything. In order to have the things that you dream about, you have to deserve it. And you can sit, and John Barraza said this the other day. He's such a smart dude. John Barraza is the guitar player or was the guitar player for Fama years back. Okay. And he said, and I want to quote him correctly, you can stand in a field with a shovel and pray for a hole 9 ways to Sunday, but it's not going to get dug unless you dig it yourself. So what he meant by that was what is exactly what I say. He just said it, and it was cool. I'm like, man, is that a song? Can I use that? but God helps those that help themselves. And why should anyone help themselves? Because, in my opinion, and I have faith in this, is because when you do that, then you have the ability to help the people that you care most about, which is your family to start with. Whatever endeavor you have, and if you find success in it, you share it with the people that you love, and that's what it's for. Like I told my son this the other day. He was in an argument with his sister, and something that I've always said to him. Hey, buddy, you leaving? All right. I'm sorry, he's saying bye to me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my son. By the way. Okay.
So I got tomorrow before I go.
Okay, buddy, be safe. All right. That's my boy. He just came back from the dojo. Where was I? What was I saying?
I totally lost track as well.
Say again.
I totally lost track as well.
Oh, that's okay. Let me just rewind a little bit. I was saying something to the effect of, oh, okay. Well, my youngest boy, was arguing with his sister, and something I've always told him. Something I've always told them is, at the end of the day, regardless of what the issue is, and there always will be. There is no such thing as an issueless existence. It's just not. Through it all, just stick together, always and forever. And their oldest sister, she's 23 now, and I'm sorry, she's turned 24. Good Lord have mercy. Yeah, she's 24, and I got her when she was 2, and I raised her. I raised her because when I met my ex-wife, she had a 2-year-old and I had a 2-year-old, and that was a really strong commonality for us. But I raised her daughter, and she's my daughter, and I'm her dad. And it's something that I used to always say to them is stick together always and forever, regardless of the issue, regardless of what's going on. The purpose of family is for each other's sake. That's what family's for. It's to look after each other, to have a soft place to land. And you, like my dad said, he purposely, made sure that me personally, I didn't have too many soft places to land. Because, don't get too comfortable, son. There's going to be a whole lot of people counting on you, And when he would tell me that, I'm like, man, I was terrified. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And the truth is he was right. There's a whole lot of people counting on me. Well, now I'm a grown man, and the way that I look at it, I'm like, oh, you can bring that on. Let's go. Who needs what? Let's go. I'm staring at my phone. Come on, babies. Somebody call me up and ask me for something that's near impossible because I want to show you how much I love you. That's how I think now. Then he's like, there's gonna be a whole lot of people counting on you, son, and I'd be like, oh, good Lord, how am I going to do this?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I was saying that the purpose of family is each other's sake, and I told my son and my daughter arguing about that the other day, and my oldest daughter, who she graduated college already, and now she's doing the things, she's adulting, doing all the things, and stick together always and forever is what I would tell them, religiously. And one day, she said, Dad, this is what I want you to do. I want you to write the phrase "always and forever" on a piece of paper, and I want you to take a picture of it, and I want you to send it to me. And I go, okay, and I thought, well, she's off at school, she's missing her dad and her family, she's feeling homesick. I totally get it. I've been in that position before, when I was in school or when I was on the road a lot, So I wrote "always and forever" on a piece of notebook paper and took a picture of it, and I sent it to her. The next time that I saw her, she walks up to me and she said, I have something to show you. And I said, what, baby? And she went like this. And on her forearm right here, it said "always and forever," my handwriting. She had tattooed on her forearm. And
nice.
it blew me away. It really did. So what I'll eventually do is have the first part of that phrase that I raised them on, and I'm going to have it tattooed on my forearm. So on my forearm, it'll say "stick together," and on hers, it says "always and forever."
Wow.
So that was
thing.
That's my story about family, and that's one of the things that I write about. Relationships, experiences on the road. I've got another song. Yeah, I used to go back and forth to Dallas quite a bit with every band I've ever been with, but more recently than anything. And the band that I played with, we had, 16 double 18 line array subs and a full line array line array PA, but we didn't use it on every gig. We stuffed it in the back of a Dodge Sprinter as much as we could, and then we went to the gig, and the band there'd be someone riding shotgun who generally was a navigator, and then two other band members that would sit right behind them, and I was always driving. Why? I'll tell you why. Because they were a little bit younger than me. I remember when I used to be the youngest guy in the band, then for a while I've been the oldest guy in the band. And what I would say is probably the guy with the most experience. So when it came to driving from point A to point B, these younger guys, they may have a buzz, which I didn't, because those days are behind me for several reasons, which we can get into. But I would be the one to drive there and drive back. What was my incentive to do that? To spend so much time behind the wheel. Yeah. Well, if we're in Oklahoma City, for example, and it's Saturday night, and we get done at 2, I'm ready to tear down, break out, and get back to the house so I can have my Sunday with my kids. Yeah. That's my day. Especially if they spent most of the week at their mom's. And because my ex-wife was my neighbor, they would kind of go back and forth. But Sunday was my family day to do my stuff with my children. So it wasn't that I wasn't tired. Did I have a little bit more tolerance to stay awake and as a driver on the road than the other guys in the band? Yes, because I did it for a long before those guys were even old enough to be in a band. I was doing that. So like I say, 10,000 hours, you get better, no matter what it is, even if it's staying awake and driving. Like I say, coffee is my best friend. It has been, still is. I don't have any other vices. It's just what I do, and I would get home. That was my incentive, to do that. But that particular highway, most of that drive was 45. From where we're at now, I drive up 45, past Sam Houston, where my daughter goes now, and the stops that we made on the way up and way back, especially Huntsville, there was a lot of continuity in that. The same places we stopped on the way up were the same places we'd stop on the way back. And we were doing this for years. And I wrote a few songs about it, but one in particular is a song called 45. And I think I sent you that song too, didn't I?
Yes.
So,
yes, you did. I sure didn't. Check this out right
now. Oh,
now.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that song's called 45, and the story behind that is the friends that you make on the way up and back. You don't see them in your neighborhood. You see them on the way. And the thing is when something is at least moderately inaccessible, something that you look forward to is generally something that is at least to some degree inaccessible. So, and I think that we've all done this, and I can't speak for everybody. It wouldn't be fair if I did, but I will say this about myself. If I see it every day, I may take it for granted, and I've worked on that for years, and I don't do that anymore. If I did once upon a time, it wasn't that often, So if you have a friend or an experience or place that brings you joy, which in this world, especially today, there's a lot of times when you're just begging to feel good. You want to feel some joy because there's so many things going on in the world, and depending on how you look at them.
Right.
If you look at them in a darker light, without a potential positive outcome, it can bring you down. So what do? You focus on the good times and things that make you feel good, and more than anything, you create more good times. So that song is one of the songs about that type of deal. Even the drive, the guys in the van will be asleep, and I'm just having a great time. I've got Alabama and let's see, it was definitely a CD player. I got the best of Alabama in the CD player. I got the windows down, and I'm chewing. This is one I used to always do. I don't do it anymore, but I had a habit. I always had Big League Chew, and it always looked like I had a dip. You know what I mean? But it wasn't. It was old school Big League Chew. Remember? I don't know if you remember that, but the big package of gum, and it looked like, like silly string on the inside. But I was always chewing that. It kept me awake. But that and coffee, just driving to point A and point B, doing the gig, breaking out, getting back home to the family. So, Yeah.
That's how he got this here, Interstate 45. That's another song right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Little scoop of behind the story and whatnot for the song here, which we do have the song also, and we want to. For those of you that didn't get to catch it in the first and second episode, I know we featured it there as well, but let's feature it again for right now. Right now, for everyone that's out there watching. So again, thank you. We appreciate everybody who's watching the show, and we're going to get back here with some more questions here for Eric. I know we have a lot more to talk about, and he's got a gig here in the area as well coming up this weekend, so we'll share that info as well. So stick around, guys, right here on Tejano Time. Check this one out.
It's been a couple years since I first saw you under that East Texas sky. 20 miles down the road, I'm already missing home. But we're coming right up on that interstate sign. So before we start this ride, stop off at Smokey's Barbecue. Brandy serves us up a thing or two. Some sweet tea and a hard time. Chicken fried chicken and I'm feeling fine. Down Beach Alley, I don't want to be late, so I jump right back on the interstate. I'm a little tired, but I'm doing all right. My turn at the wheel, rolling down 45. Now I gotta put food on the table. I gotta keep a roof overhead. A couple dollars in my bucket just might buy another round, but I'll take the highway instead. Take me where I lay my head. So I wave goodbye to old Big D, Chris G, Stevie, TW. Me and Cole leading, but I'm 10-2. B-side Bama, Big League Chew. Well, of course you can't keep my bill pulled down. Got me way outside the city, but they took me downtown. Overhead, in my mirror, let Shorty drive. We come alive, rolling down 45. Stands alone, smiling to say you're almost home. So ride with me and let the good times roll down 45. Since I last saw you under that East Texas sky. A couple hours up the highway or up the byway, I'm coming home. Now I'm coming back up on that interstate side. But before we start this ride, turn off to Highway 164, but I gotta fuel up and I fuel up more. Made a little money, but it sure went fast. They hit you in your pocket and you take it in the gas tank, fueled up on the road again. Rubbing that woody next time I roll in. I'm a little tired, but I'm feeling alright. Both hands on the wheel. Stop off at Humphrey's Bar and Grill, and I still feel it holler of a whippoorwill. George Strait with cold like Jones. Send me with a buzz, full belly on home. Booked a couple gigs for a later date. Get your styrofoam box with her favorite red plate. I'm a little tired, but I'm doing fine. Broken white line, rolling down 45.
that other good stuff right there. That's the song. We're just he just gave you guys a coupon right there. Yes, man, amazing. Another great song right there from Mr.
Thank you, brother.
Ian Eric. Right, he's got some great stuff, great country music, guys. So I said, don't forget to go out and support him when he's in your neck of the woods. So he's here. He plays a lot of areas here in the Houston and surrounding areas. As a matter of fact, let's pop one up on the screen right now. This one here is going to be happening this Saturday, February the 8th, between the hours of 8 and 12 midnight there, okay? And that's going to be over at Scotty's Saloon. That address is 114 Agnes Road in Richmond. Yeah, over in Richmond. So go out there and check them out if you're going to be in that area. I'm sure they've got a great show going on. Now, a question I do have for you, my brother, is how do you engage with your fans? What's the most meaningful interaction you've had so far with the fan?
Yeah, there's been so many of them.
I'm sure you have over the years. Yeah, definitely.
Something that I learned back in the day from Fiebre, because there were a few things, contrary to popular belief, there were a few things that I learned from, and they were tremendous life lessons and certainly professional lessons. They insisted, because in the studio I would go berserk. They used to make fun of me. I was a kid, and I would be really excited, and I would say, "I've got the whole arrangement right here. Just let me record it," And I was thinking, let me see your instrument. I'll do it for you real quick, and then we'll replace it with. And they knew that. And they're like, well, wait a minute, it's a group effort, and it was absolutely a group effort. But I was just so inspired. Could you imagine 17, 18-year-old kid, with for this particular industry, somewhat of a major record deal, and you have access to everything that you ever dreamed of as far as recording as a kid. So I'll be really excited. But one thing, and I still am, for other reasons, I'm still excited about music from probably more reasons now. But they insisted on making sure that, number one, the song was digestible. It was songs that people could relate to, and the majority, nothing too out there. Even though, I never, like I said, rarely slept, and I was in the studio a lot by myself, so I would sneak things in. Like I would add background vocals to things, and I would add certain instrumentation to things that sometimes got taken out, but I'd still do it, because in my heart, certainly as an artist, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. So I did a lot of that. I did a whole lot of that. I still do, by the way. I just do. If it feels good, do it as long as you're not hurting anybody. Because like my dad said, life is short. But they would insist on the simplicity of the content of the song, the groove of the song, and making it very commercial. And part of that I absorbed, but not at the expense of your artistry. Certainly not. And number two, they would say that if it makes people dance, if it makes them dance, then we're doing it right. Because if you are, because back in the day they called them dancers. We played in a dance hall. The name was in the title of the building. You know what I mean? People go to a dance hall to dance. So the songs had to be commercial, digestible, things, something they can relate to, and certainly it had to be something that would make them dance. Okay, why? It's the why. For me, it's the why. Mm-hmm. It goes back to what my dad had said about when I was telling you a story about Just One. The songs that I play, right? A lot of them. If when you guys go to one of my shows, by the way, you'll learn not if, but when you go to one of my shows, you'll see that I do a lot of songs that bring people together on the dance floor. Something that I learned too, and I may be wrong in some instances, but for the most part, I think that I'm right. When you with your woman, for instance, you know, she's not going to love you more because you worked more hours. She's not gonna love you more because you have bigger muscles. I've tried that. Doesn't work. She's not gonna love you more because you buy her nice things. She'll appreciate them, and certainly for the moment. What she's gonna remember is the sincere amount of time that you spent with her. And one of the best ways to do that is to dance with her. Because in that moment, in that 3 minute and 30 seconds, she has your attention and you're focused directly on her. And the songs that I play, for instance, I do a lot of covers. I'll do Neon Moon as one of them because it just works. It works. It almost doesn't matter who's singing it, at least every time that I've done it, it works. The Chair is another one. I do that one and it just works. And the songs that I write equate to that particular type of vibe, Just One being one of them. I had a couple that was dancing in front of the stage, and I don't remember what song that I was playing. I want to say that it was one of mine, but I don't think that it was. I wish it was, but it probably wasn't. It might have been. I don't suppose that it matters, but what does matter is that after that song, they walked up and they said, when we got here, when we walked in, we were arguing, as couples do, because sometimes you do, sometimes you have to. That's how you recalibrate. That's how you reset everything. We were arguing, and he said, and he said something to the effect of this might have been our last argument, saying that their relationship might be over, right? But when I played that song, it happened to be their wedding song, the one that they had gotten married to, like their first dance, whatever the case is, in a wedding. It was their wedding song. And I played it. And when I sang that song, I do know this, I knew that I sang it with absolute sincerity, right? And in my band, it's contagious. If I'm feeling a moment, the guys that I played with were very much kindred spirits. So if I feel good, they do. If I feel bad, they do. And I would say vice versa, right? So I was very in the moment, and meaning every word that I was singing in that song, and the crowd responded accordingly, especially this particular couple. And they told me this: we were arguing on our way over here, and this might have been the very last argument we ever had. But when we walked in, you were playing our wedding song, and it sounded like you meant every word you said. And I said, yes, ma'am, I did. So after that, I watched them dance till 1:30 a.m. when I was done, every few songs, and just really appreciating each other. And I thought, you're doing your job, X. That's what you came here for. That's what I thought.
Wow.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Right there. Yeah, that's another.
That was one of my
guys.
experiences, yeah.
Yes, another one. Yes. Bobby Castañeda is over in Califas. Sends a shout out over on our YouTube channel.
What's going on, brother? All right.
Great guy. And earlier during the show, also, we had Ruben Horta who's tuned in as well. He's still tuned in. Great song that was he mentioned earlier, so we want to send him
Thanks,
a
Ruben. I
shout out.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. And Bobby says, yes, a great story as well. Yeah.
Thanks, Bobby.
Good stuff right there. But before we wrap things up here, I know we going to wrap things up here shortly, but I want to get to this track or this short video that we've got here. There's the
Which
story
one?
behind this one is that Mujer Casada, and I want you to well, I mean, there's a little story about, go for it. There's a little story behind it. Not too, I mean, it's a great story, but it was during the time COVID, as a matter of fact.
Was.
And we definitely want to, I want to play. I came across it, so I said, I've got to share this. I have to, And I know he's like, okay, that's what we got. But tell me a little bit about that Mujer Casada before we flip that video on there right quick.
That was that was a snapshot of COVID during the pandemic, during the lockdown. For someone that has a hard time sitting down, was going bananas, and I was just, you can only work out or do the yard so many times in one day, and uh, um, so I got very, very creative during that time, and it was lockdown, so it wasn't like, it wasn't advised to go over to say my studio, for instance, and a buddy of mine's name's John Flores, and my nickname for him is Flowers, by the way. Uh, so he called me up. I'm like, "So Flowers?" He said, "Hey man, I got a great idea." He goes, "I know that you're a fan of this particular song in the band that it came from, and he goes, why don't we do a remake of the song, and uh, why don't we do a remake of the song and see what happens, right?" And I thought, well, um, I love Mujer Casada. It's a great tune. I love the horn players. I love the time that I heard it for the first time. I was a teenager. This was right before I had gotten into, or as I was getting into a few of it. That was actually when I first heard. So I met those horn players. I met those horn players shortly after I heard them for the first time. I met one of them rather, and I explained to him that I just was recently introduced to the music, and really was inspired by the way that he played. And of course, that was, I don't know, like 170 years ago, however long ago it was, but
169.
yeah, right. But Flower says, "Hey, let's record that song." I said, "Okay, well, who do you got?" He's a drummer, right? And I go, "Well, who do you got?" He goes, "Well, I've got me." I go, "Okay, well, I guess I'll play everything else. Why not? It's not like I don't have time at that particular time. All we had was time." And I have a studio, so time and budget is no longer an issue, and it's something I always dreamed of. Honestly, it kind of makes it boring. Remember when I get so excited to finally have a budget to go and record a song at whatever studio it was at the time when I was younger, and now, you know, um, I come downstairs and the front part of my house is the studio, and so there's, like, I record whenever I'm feeling it, or when I'm working on a library or a song for somebody else, and certainly my own stuff. But I said, okay, well, we got you as a drummer, got me as the instrumentalist, and then one of our other friends, he's kind of a kid. He didn't experience any of my personal time in Tejano music when I was in it, so he didn't know about my history or anything. He was just a friend of ours. He's a local musician, quite younger, but he's also a multi-instrumentalist, and it was refreshing to me to meet another multi-instrumentalist. Now, when I say that, I don't mean, a guy that knows three chords on guitar and can play an open A on bass and can play 1-4-5-1 on accordion and can play a kick snare. No, I mean a lead player on everything. He plays guitar. He's a lead guitar player. He's a bass player. He sounds like the best of them. He's when he's on the drums, he sounds like a very, very experienced professional drummer. Et cetera, et cetera. When he's on accordion, well, no, he doesn't sound like, he's not like an Albert Zamora level. I don't think anybody is, but I don't think anybody is. But he is very, very good accordion player, and certainly in true Shebita fashion, he played what's digestible, what is understandable, and what people can relate to, and what sounds familiar to them. It's a brilliant concept. I get it now, guys. By the way, sorry about back in the day. I get it now, but so he came in sort of after the fact and said, we'll do this. Okay, we're going to record the song, and then everybody just filmed themselves, recording it. And I'm a videographer. I've done some cinematography. I do music for film and television. That inspired me to get behind the camera as well. And I thought, even if they just send me a video of them playing their instrument, I can take it and keyframe it and make it look somewhat entertaining and cinematic, especially for a COVID level video. And the rest is just me, well, all I do is point the camera at myself. Well, when I did that, I realized, when I'm filming something, I put a lot of physical movement into it, if I'm doing a ramp up or anything that resembles keyframing, it's always done physically with a gimbal. Well, now I had to park the camera because now I'm on the other side of it, and there was no one that was, at least at the time, no one willing to film. I have people now, but back then I didn't. Certainly during COVID. So I decided, well, all right. So they sent me their audio of them recording their parts. I'm gonna play everything else one instrument at a time, just like any recording process, except I'm doing it all. And then I have to sing it. And I've heard the song a million times, and I didn't realize that I knew it outside of mispronouncing a word here and there. I did my homework and hopefully I did it right. But I haven't had too much criticism on it, other than constructive. But we put it together. I made the video after I finished recording it, mixed and mastered it, and it was a fun project. Decided to upload it on my YouTube channel, because on my YouTube channel I do a lot of things. So I'm kind of known as a generalist. My channel isn't really specifically about one thing. It's just what I'm up to at the time. And there's a few things. Sometimes it's building things, building guitars, building bicycles, or it's about fitness or martial arts, and of course it's about music. But equally to the other ones, it's not just about one particular thing. So I don't know how many followers at the time, maybe 500-600 at the time. And those were followers because of the bike builds. So when they saw the Mujer Casada video, and I'm singing in Spanish, and I know one people personally. He was like, "Dude, are you Mexican?" Yeah, duh. And yeah, or Tex-Mex is, to be a little bit more accurate about it, we're Tejanos. There's a deep, rich, wonderful, glorious history behind that. For generations, my family's lived in the same place, but the culture is what the culture is. We're all from here, and it's a good marriage of culture and music, because this side of the border, this kind of music is Tejano. You go south of the border, it doesn't sound like that, and if it does, it's because they're sounding like what we've done over here. And vice versa, we borrow from each other. So yeah, because he knew me as a country artist. And so, well, hang on, here's what you don't know, young man, is Tejano. As far as I'm concerned, it is country. Them same honky tonks that I play now, right. Whether it be somewhere in Abilene or KC Hall, Knights of Columbus, or wherever it may be. I played those same places, back in the late 80s, early 90s. I played with, we played at Gillies. It was Fiebra too. Wow. We played at Gillies. And before I joined Fiebra, I was, when I was a teenager, I was in a band at a place called Sherwood's. And Sherwood is the guy that had bought Gillies at the time, but he had a couple of businesses. One of them was an ice house right there in Pasadena off Spencer. And I was a house guitar player as a teenager. I wasn't old enough to be in there, but as long as I was playing an instrument, I was fine. So these guys then were, I was 16, maybe 16, and I was the guitar player. And those guys were my age-ish, well, the age that I am now. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they're with us anymore, but man, they were a huge inspiration. So when we played at Gillies, the late 80s, early 90s, and there was a few people that had remembered me from the band that I played before. And of course, they're like, I didn't know you played saxophone. Kind of the same thing that I get now, when people, recognize me from back then. Like, I didn't know you played guitar. Well, yeah, I play that too. It's all music. It's all the same to me. it doesn't really so much matter what instrument you have in your hand. It matters what's in your heart, and whatever you have in your hand, then you express it through that.
Right.
That's the way I think, and because of that, it comes out this way. Sometimes, like my daughters, Dad, you're so dramatic all the time. Everything has to be a poem, or whatever, right? I'm like, well, yeah, that's how I think, and because of that, I'm able to write the type of stuff that I do. Um, and if you think that I shut it off at the end of the song, well, you're wrong. It never shuts off. I wake up like this, uh, and I'm just having fun with it now.
Having
So
fun with it. Yeah.
yeah, that's good.
So we want to send some shout outs before. I don't want to play that. It's that little crunk that we got there with the Mujer Casada for everybody out there, guys. So you're gonna check that out. But I want to send a shout out to Rory Ann Smith, who's watching the show. También to going out. So we got Diana Peña, Isaac de la Cerda, Luo Escobar. También is watching. Jeffrey Sanchez. Let's see here what else we got over here. We got Luis Garcia and also también para Ruben watching the show. También still watching. So guys, appreciate you guys for watching the show. Isaac, saludos, my brother. And let's
Thanks,
play
guys.
this little video right quick, and we'll be back here to wrap things up here. My guest once again tonight, man, country artist. That's that Eric Jimenez here. He's got some amazing music, guys. So go out there and add it to your playlist. All right, then we're going to before we go here tonight as well. We're going to go ahead and touch bases on that performance he's going to be having this weekend as well. All right,
Yes.
and be right back. Check this one out, guys.
Por una mujer casada dicen que voy a morir. Mentiras no me hacen nada si ella me quiere seguir. Porque la quise y la quiero y nunca la podré olvidar. Su marido anda diciendo que a traición me va a matar. Para borrar el intento yo me la voy a llevar a pasar la temporada, después se la vuelvo a dar. El tiempo ya está consentida, de celos no tengas ya. Si hoy de perder la vida, después tú ya la tendrás. La suerte a los dos nos toca, piensa solo en mi querer. Tu marido ya no sopla, tú vas a ser mi mujer.
Freaking awesome.
Chicano crunk. I like that.
Yeah. Yes, that's that. How long ago was that? Well, they were during COVID, you said, right?
Yeah, probably
2022, maybe. I mean, 21,
older than that,
20,
21 probably. Yeah, probably just going to 21. It was before. It was probably, oh boy, right before Snowpocalypse. A few months. It was before Christmas. So maybe, I don't know. It was a while back. It was a while back.
a while back. It was good to share it with everyone out there. You know what I mean? Just why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
it's a
like,
fun song.
he's talented in many ways. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Just like
Appreciate
we
it.
had the conversation offline before the show as well. I mean, there's just so many, as the Latinos, Hispanics, whatnot. They're talented in every which way. I mean, you're talking about, they can play everything, whether it be, some jazz, country, some pop and whatnot, and still do the Tejano scene. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's very
we
challenging for
adapt.
a lot. But go ahead.
Yeah, I've got a lot of friends and mentors,
Mm-hmm.
and that I followed in a lot of ways. Some Hispanic musicians and just watch their versatility, and I realized that I was one of them. But they certainly inspired me to believe that it was possible because of what I had in my head. I thought this is does one person actually do that? And then I would see them do it, and I would go, okay, well that's possible, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. The only thing, and this is for everybody, regardless of what your background is or where you come from, or this is in regards to where you're going. The only thing, and the only person that's really in your way when it comes to anything is yourself. If you believe that you can do it, whatever it is, um, then you're right. If you believe that you can't, then you're also right. I'm guessing. Um, I've I go through YouTube a lot, and Keith pops up quite a bit. I don't watch every video. If I see someone that I know, certainly from someone from back in the day, and there's a handful of us, I'm like, oh, I see what so and so's up to, so they look like now or what they're doing. I see a lot of new artists that I'm not familiar with, and I'd love to get to know what they're up to. My expectations for them are really high because back in the day we had to work really hard to. There was no YouTube, there was no social media formats, there were no shortcuts, there were no playing live and having a track behind you without a band. And I'm not knocking that because pop artists do it all day. All right. But certainly back in the day, and I say my day, but I was the youngest, and gosh, probably in the market, not necessarily just in the band, but I didn't meet a lot of teenagers back then. One or two in particular. I won't bring her name up because that's another long song conversation. No, she was the only person that was my age at the time. Um, but back then we had to work really really hard, and it was reciprocity. What we got out of it was absolutely a result of everything that we put in. Right. And if you put moderate effort in anything, you're going to get moderate results. You guys see Keith, y'all tune into him. And by the way, everyone that I was trying to comment earlier, thanks to everyone, by the way, who left a comment. And it's great to see that you guys are enthusiastic. I love exclamation points. I love that because it shows the kind of mood and the amount of excitement that you put behind anything that you say or do. So everything that came out of that was a direct result of the effort. You guys see Keith. He's a staple in the Tejano music industry, and he's had everybody that I'm familiar with on his show. And that's a direct result of history and the knowledge of the market. And number three, you guys, as far as artists go, are wanting to be interviewed by him. And at one time, maybe he thought, I really want to have an internet podcast / radio show. But I don't know if that's possible or not. Well, I can tell you why he's here right now. It's because he believed that he could. If he believed that it wasn't possible, then he wouldn't be here, and you guys wouldn't be leaving comments, nor would you be watching this to see, dusty old guy like me, or because half of you are tuning in to see him because you watch him regularly, and that's a true sign of success. So I want to say congratulations to Keith for believing. But that's a perfect example. Whatever it is that you do, believe in it. Get out of your own way. Make it happen.
Yeah. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate those kind of words, man. Yes, it's always. I mean, it's a challenge at times, and it takes a lot of work and preparation at times for a lot of the new artists and stuff like that to look, at their background, their bios, and things like that. I mean, it's something you want to bring to the table because you want to to make sure that you're talking about the right things about the artists themselves. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And not just bring something fake to the. It's not all about a joke. And a lot of, I mean, there's some different shows out there that do their thing or whatnot, and that's their own thing. But here, I like to showcase the artist, their talents, and what they're all about, and their background and whatnot. Because I think that that's what the people out there want to watch and want to learn. If they're not familiar with the artist, then hey, you're going to get familiarized with this artist during this hour and whatnot. So that's what it's all about. And sharing the love of the music. I mean, it's that's the way to go. And I appreciate that though. Yes, definitely. So and everyone who tunes in on a weekly basis to the shows, thank you. We appreciate you guys out there. I definitely
Absolutely.
do. All the time, 100%. So yeah. So, Eric, any upcoming shows other than the one that you have right there at Scotty's this weekend? Do you have more dates up ahead down the road that anybody might want to share with all the fans out there?
I do, but you're gonna have to go to my social media to find it. So, like and subscribe, follow, and my entire calendar will pop up. That's going to be the most obviously the next one, and they're all over Texas. Mostly, I like to stay close when I can, but in order to reach a bigger audience, you have to travel more. So I'm having fun with it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Keep doing your thing, man. Just like a lot of the folks mentioned earlier, ACL. I mean, just keep doing what you do. And props to you. I mean, your music from the very first show we had. This is the part 3, as a matter of fact. So, guys, and hey, you never know. It might be a part 4 or a 5. You never know.
Absolutely,
it can happen. So he's always welcome back here on the show anytime, my brother. You already know. And it's not just, we cater to every single person out there, and it's not just if I can have Mick Cruz or Leo Alejandro Garcia, another country artist from down the valley, on the show, why not have you on the show? You know what I mean?
Do, absolutely, yeah.
We share the love all over the board, so yes, definitely, and sooner or later, I mean, I've had some hip hop people on here. I've got some planned as well in the future. So it's just that's what it's all about. But we still like to focus on our Tejano artists as well. That's our main dish. But Hispanic community. You're Hispanic. You're not just like we were talking about earlier. When they come back here and say you're Mexican.
Yeah, to the core.
No,
I would say. Yeah, I was talking to. I didn't mean to talk over you, but I play with so many different musicians, different genres, and for 2 reasons. In the past, for the work, and because I really loved the challenge and the opportunity. But I remember, I'm playing with some gospel musicians, and they're like, and really digging in. They say, I know you have to have some African in you. I know you do. I'm like, oh, come on, here we go again. Like, no, no, And then, where I came up and around the people that I did, obviously I'm a country artist. I have, at heart, I have been my entire life. And when I play with them, they're like, you don't, are you mixed or whatever the case? What do you mean by that? Well, you sound very authentic. I'm like, well, I am very authentic, What you're hearing is an absolute consequence of the amount of love and experience that I have towards this kind of music. And so, on that side of the fence, they say, well, you must be one of us. And on the other side of the fence, when I'm playing with gospel musicians, they're like, you got to be one of us. They'll say that as well. And I'm like, and I tell them, and I say this, I say, well, no. I'm going to say, and this is what I tell them. This is man to man, when I'm musician to musician, I tell them like this, because I'm representing us. That's my objective, to represent us in a lot of cases, in a lot of ways. Us as Tejanos, Tex-Mex. That's what we are. We're from here. I don't know anything about being from Mexico because I'm not from there. I know everything about being Tex-Mex, everything. Certainly now. If there was a time when I didn't, well, that was a long time ago, because I do now. And I'm representing us in what I do, But as a country artist, I'm not going out there, and I don't generally talk about things that I'm not doing or what I'm trying not to do. I don't think that way. I think about what I'm doing or what I aspire to do or what I'm trying to do. I'm a country artist that just so happens to be Tex-Mex, right? Not a Tex-Mex guy that's doing country. No, it's not. Because there's a category and a group for that, and then you end up, you end up being in a small group. And I thought, if that's the case, then I may as well be doing, then I may as well be doing Tejano, which is fine. But that's not what I'm doing at the moment. As far as I'm concerned, everything I do is from a Tejano perspective, and this is what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about right now. I'm doing what I'm doing from a Tejano perspective because what's in my head, the way that I think, what's in my heart. The gospel musicians are claiming me, and the country musicians are claiming me, and I'll tell them this is exactly what I tell them, because I'm representing us, like I say. I'm not black, I'm not white, I'm just right.
There it is, right there.
And I mean that in the nicest possible way, because again, I'm not anti anything. I'm just pro us. That's just how I think. That's how I am.
Yep. Very, very talented at that, guys. So be on the lookout. What's next and what's in store for you in the future, music-wise? I know you just dropped the latest single. You're planning to do another one very, very soon.
How much time do we have?
We got a few more minutes. Yeah.
Here's the thing. This is a life is a journal waiting to happen. And as that journal happens, those are turned into songs. And as they're turned into songs, those songs are recorded. And after they're recorded, then I get to share them with you guys. Come on Keith's show, and he spins them for me.
Yeah, there you go.
I appreciate that. So what's in the future? More experiences. Because of that, more songs.
All right, so good deal. We'll be looking out for that, and and everything that he's got in there, performance-wise, guys. He'll be this weekend over at Scotty's Saloon there in Richmond, right? I believe it was Richmond. Yeah, Richmond, and
Richmond,
that address is 114 Agnes Road. So you can go check him out there. Doors open, or the show's from 8 to 12 a.m. So make sure you guys
come see me at Scotty's. Come on, come on, Rasa. Come see your boy.
Let's go. And he's gonna have some crunk in there, some Mexicano crunk. And no, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. But
that song was a project for the moment, but it might not be a bad idea to incorporate that into the show. Although that the style of music, I don't know if my bass player and drummer, and I'm not knocking them at all, but I'm not too sure they have a lot of experience with rancheras.
Rancheras, yeah. It would never hurt to try, but just for the heck of it.
Absolutely,
you never know.
Everybody gets a shot.
Heck yeah, for sure, man. So, Eric, it's always a pleasure to have you here on the show, my brother, man. The stories that you have are just amazing, and to share it with our audience out there as well, for everybody that's going to be watching it today, tonight, tomorrow, and whatnot. I know they're going to enjoy every bit of it. So, you're welcome back again when in the future. Let us know what's going on with you. We'll definitely. I'm going to be in town this weekend. I had plans to head out of town this weekend tomorrow night, but I believe I'm going to cancel that tomorrow night. I'm not sure, but you never know. I might show up there over in Richmond.
That'd be great.
Go down there.
It would be good to see
check out your performance. You know what I mean? So
absolutely,
it's not too far from here. So why not?
Why not?
It beats a 3-hour drive, right?
That's a great. See, the cup is always half full. Just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. So again, they can follow you on your social media platforms. What platforms are you on currently right now?
All of them: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Facebook, I got a few different channels because on Facebook I tried to separate the things that I do. So there's like maybe 3 or 4, but my main one, you'll see, it's obvious which one it is. Just go to that one, and it'll have my schedule up there. As I every month I put a new schedule up. Sometimes I'll put a schedule up for the year, but that is subject to change because things happen. But certainly every month. So go to my Facebook and follow, or go to Instagram and follow, and I post about every show.
Go. That's right. So everybody out there, make sure you guys give him a follow. Keep up with all the stuff that he's got up and coming in the future, whether it be shows, music, and all that other great stuff. So yeah, and follow him on YouTube also. He's still on YouTube, right?
Yes, sir.
He's still got his channel out there. So yeah, definitely. Eric, again, you take care, my brother, and we will see you, God willing, Saturday night.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Have a great night, my buddy.
You too, Bubba.